Hello guys, Beastie here with another video, and today I'm going to show you guys my 2019 mock draft for all the rookies. What I feel like the position need. I used a couple websites to get sources. I didn't pick what like other websites picked. I kind of looked at them and see what they needed, see what the top prospects were, and took some things from the combine, and like I said, what all the teams need, and that's how I have my mock draft. Number 1 overall pick. The Arizona Cardinals select Kyler Murray from Oklahoma. So, like I said, they're going to draft Kyler Murray. I think him and Kingsbury will be a really good fit. Right now, the Cardinals have really high praise for Kyler Murray. And they said they're shopping Josh Rosen. So I feel like this pick's going to happen. And I think Kyler Murray is going to be going to the Arizona Cardinals. Number 2 overall, the San Francisco 49ers select Nick Bosa. Nick Bosa is just going to be an animal. It'll help their defensive front, and they'll just be picking the best player available. I think the 49ers are going to select Nick Bosa, 2nd overall. 3rd overall pick for the New York Jets will be selecting Quinnen Williams. No, I don't know if they're going to select Quinnen Williams or Josh Allen. I'm positive they're probably going to get their defensive front, and they said they would be willing to trade back because they're saying they don't need some of these guys. But right now, I'm not going to have a trade back. I do have a trade in here, but I don't think the Jets are going to trade back. I think they're going to take Quinnen Williams. He was an animal at the combine, and they will be helping their defensive front. And obviously, this is the year to help your defensive front and your linebacker core. Number 4 overall, the Raiders select Josh Allen from Kentucky. Like I said, I don't know what the Jets will pick. The Jets are going to probably pick Josh Allen or Quinnen Williams. I think the Raiders are going to pick the other one. And in this case, I have him picking Josh Allen. He would be a phenomenal pass rusher and help make up for the trade to the Bears with Khalil Mack. And the Raiders had the worst pass rush in the NFL last year, so there's no doubt they're picking the best defensive lineman available at this time in the draft. Number 5 overall, I have the Tampa Bay Buccaneers taking Montez Sweat. He's an edge rusher. He was fast, he had a really good combine, and he'll just solidify the defense. But Buccaneers, look for a quarterback in free agency. I'm just saying. If you snag a quarterback or trade a quarterback, you say you trade for like Andy Dalton or something, that's not a bad idea either, Buccaneers, because you don't know if Jameis Winston's really your guy. So I would focus on a quarterback too, but for the draft, I think they're going to take Montez Sweat. I don't know how much Dwayne, Haskins, or the only other one I have in my top 10 was Drew Lock. My top 32 would be Drew Lock, and I don't know if any of them would fit the Buccaneers offense. Don't draft a quarterback at 5, especially because that's not your biggest need, but look for one in free agency. But I have them picking Montez Sweat. I have the Giants selecting Dwayne Haskins. This is more me thinking what's going to happen and a big Giants need. For all you guys that don't know, I am a Giants fan, though, and I don't know how much I even care for them to draft a quarterback in this draft. The Giants they're getting rid of all their best defensive players. They got rid of Olivier Vernon, a pass rusher. Earlier, right before the trade line last year, they got rid of Snacks. They let Collins walk in free agency. The Giants are letting their whole defense just walk out the door. Olivier Vernon was for a great offensive lineman, but we have no defense now. So if the Giants select a defensive lineman here or a defensive player to help run this team again, I'm not going to oppose that one bit. Like I said, before Landon Collins was walking, when we traded Olivier Vernon, I would have picked Dwayne Haskins 9, maybe 10 times out of 10. I'll say 9 times out of 10. And now that they're getting rid of everybody, Dwayne Haskins is a harder pick to make here, but I do think the Giants are going to try to start preparing for the future. Number 7, I have the Jaguars picking Jawan Taylor. They're going to want to protect. I think they're trading for Nick Foles. I believe this is Nick Foles' next destination, and that's why I have them picking offensive lineman instead of a quarterback here, and Nick Foles can lead them for a while in the future. He can lead them for still 6 years. They don't need a quarterback just yet. They're going to pick an offensive lineman to protect Nick Foles and help Leonard Fournette run the ball. I have the number 8 Detroit Lions selecting Rashawn Gary from Michigan. And he's just making up for Ziggy Ansah that's walking away this week, walking away to free agency, and they're going to want someone to replace him. And if they were going to let him go, this would be the year to replace him with someone like Rashawn Gary. Number 9 overall, I have the Bills selecting DK Metcalf. They have shown they really want a wide receiver. They almost got a trade done with the Pittsburgh Steelers for Antonio Brown, but Antonio Brown threatened the Bills organization that he wouldn't show up, so the Bills backed out of the deal. But they were going to, 2 nights ago, they were going to have Antonio Brown until Antonio Brown said he wouldn't show up. So they want a high wide receiver. This is by far the best wide receiver in the draft. And I was telling my friend last night, I think this kid's going to be better than Julio Jones. I don't think he's going to be better than Julio Jones right off the bat or nothing. But I think this kid's going to end up being better than Julio Jones. And I think Julio Jones is the best wide receiver in the NFL right now. And I think he's going to end up being better than him. I think this kid's going to be a legend. And I think this kid will help Josh Allen develop more as a quarterback. And by far, I think the wide receiver is one of the worst positions the Bills have. The running back, LaShawn McCoy, they're going to need a running back soon. But there's also not a lot of top running backs in this draft. They definitely go DK Metcalf in this draft. Or they're going to draft DK Metcalf for an offensive lineman. And I have another offensive lineman going at 10. The Broncos select Jonah Williams. And they select Jonah Williams from Alabama. They're just going to help protect Joe Flacco. And I feel like they just need to solidify their front a little bit better than what they have been. And they have a pass rush. They have some corners. They have running backs. They have a wide receiver or two. They have the quarterback. So the running backs, I don't think they need a lot of other positions. I think they're pretty much set. If they were going to draft a linebacker here, I could see that too. But I think they should draft an offensive lineman. I have the Cincinnati Bengals selecting Devin White, solidify that defense up. I mean, I don't really think it matters what the Bengals do with this pick. I think the player they draft to be a stud. I think Devin White's still going to be good. I just don't think the Bengals aren't going to go anywhere. They're just a mediocre team, and that's that. But I have them drafting linebacker Devin White to solidify the defense a little bit more. At number 12, I have the Packers selecting T.J. Hawkinson. Jimmy Graham wasn't what the Packers expected. I couldn't speak there for a second. And since he wasn't what they expected, Aaron Rodgers is going to get more weapons, and this is by far the best tight end available in the draft. Some people have him going number 5 to the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, but they do have O.J. Howard and Mike Evans on the outside, and I think Green Bay Packers need a tight end to block for Jamal Adams, and they do have Devontae Adams out wide, but they still need a blocker too, and they need another weapon for Devontae Adams. Number 13, the Miami Dolphins select the only other quarterback I have in this draft. I have 3 quarterbacks, all in the top 13, and I have in one of them Drew Lock getting selected by the Miami Dolphins. If you watch any other football network, which you probably do, if you're listening to me, you guys pretty much already know why they're going to draft Drew Lock. Drew Lock's going to be the best quarterback available, and they're moving on. Well, they ain't get rid of Ryan Tannehill yet, but they need to move on from Ryan Tannehill, and that's why they select Drew Lock from Missouri. 14, Atlanta Falcons select Ed Oliver from Houston, defensive tackle. They need to just get the pass rush going. They have the running back. They have the wide receiver. They have the quarterback. They have a secondary. This all got hurt last year, but they need to get more pressure on the quarterbacks. And I will say Atlanta Falcons select Ed Oliver at 14. And he's also probably the best player available at this point in time in the draft. Number 15, the Washington Redskins select Greedy Williams. They're getting rid of Haskins and Nick, so I need another secondary member. I mean, they could draft a safety, but Greedy Williams is a better secondary member, and since he plays secondary, he could probably adjust to being a safety pretty well. But they need our secondary guy. The quarterback, they could draft a quarterback here too, but they grabbed Case Keenum the other day, and I don't think Case Keenum is that good. They don't even have full faith in Case Keenum because they're still making him fight for the job. He has not even guaranteed the number one position on that team. I think that was a horrible trade, too, by the Redskins. I'll get into that maybe in another video, but I think that was a horrible trade for the Redskins. And Greedy Williams, they need to improve their secondary. They have a running back, Darius Geis, that was injured all of last year. Their wide receivers could use some work, but they do have okay quarterbacks. They have a good offensive line. I think they just need to step up their secondary a little bit. Number 16 overall, the Carolina Panthers select Cody Ford. By far, Carolina had one of the worst offensive lines. That's why Cam Newton ended up getting hurt last year. They need to solidify it. Had one of the worst offensive lines in the NFL last year, and that's why I have Cody Ford going to Carolina, just so they can protect Cam Newton. Cleveland Browns like Brian Burns from Florida. I don't know if it was Florida or Florida State. I was making this last night, and there was a couple of times where I just said Florida or Florida State, and it was the other one because I forget. Florida Gators are good too. And Florida State always was the one that popped in my mind when I was watching Jameis Winston on Florida State a couple of years ago. For some reason, they're the one that stays in mind, not the Florida Gators. So they're from Florida or Florida Gators. I mean, Florida or Florida State. And the Browns are almost perfect right now. They might not even need a linebacker if they acquire one in the off season, from free agency or something or a trade. But Cleveland, and they did just get Olivier Vernon, and he'll solidify that up a little bit. They got the pass rush though already. They got the corner. They got the secondary. They got the offense. The offensive line isn't bad. They got the running back. They got the wide receiver. This is probably the most needed position on the Browns team. They might need a new guard though. They might need a new guard now though. Trading their best, a really good guard to the Giants. I need to remember his name. I need to remember more offensive lineman names. But Minnesota Vikings select Clelin Ferrell. They need to replace Sheldon Richardson, who's walking off to free agency. And honestly, this is just picking the best player available at the time in the draft. Number 19, I have the Tennessee Titans selecting N'Keal Harry. Who do they have besides Corey Davis that even remotely scares you a little bit? No one. They need to draft someone, help Marcus Mariota, help Corey Davis out. They need another wide receiver. It would surprise me if N'Keal Harry was still on the board and the Titans did not select him here at 19 overall. 20, the Pittsburgh Steelers select Devin Bush from Michigan. They just cure up that secondary core. I mean, your linebacker core. They probably still won't select a wide receiver, even though they're losing Antonio Brown, because they do have Juju Smith-Schuster. So I think they're going to solidify their defense up more and try to re-obtain the Iron Curtain name. Number 21, the Seattle Seahawks select Byron Murphy. The Seahawks defense is falling apart. I think it's still going to be good under Bobby Wagner. But your Legion to Boo, you had like 3 or 4 years ago, is all gone now. Cam Chance, one retired, one's walking to free agency, and one you traded to the 49ers, or they signed with the 49ers. Either way, one went to the 49ers. I mean, those were your best. They were the Legion to Boom, really good corners, and I think they need to rebuild that Legion to Boom with new guys. I think they'll start with Byron Murphy from Washington. And if this is Washington State, this is a smooth transition because Seattle's right in Washington. And that was another one with Rashawn Gary. He was from Michigan. He moves right into Detroit. Smooth transition. And there we go with that. Number 22, the Baltimore Ravens select Marquise Brown. You need to help Lamar Jackson out. Lamar Jackson was not throwing to a lot of weapons last year. It was probably his best weapons were probably his tight ends. And that's why they had a good run game. And you want to improve Lamar Jackson's air attack so he can become more of a dual threat. Right now, he's more scary in the running game than he is the passing game. I think if you relied on Lamar Jackson to the pass, I think Lamar Jackson could pass to win a game. I think Lamar Jackson's passing ability is underrated. But I think you can help it with Marquise Brown. I think Lamar Jackson has a fine throwing thing. I think he just needs to give him more opportunities, and he needs to throw the ball more instead of relying on his leg Instead of the coaches relying on Lamar Jackson's legs all the time, you need to rely on his arm. And even if you lose a couple games, you have a rusty start to the season, he will develop better, and he will be able to throw to win games. He could, when he needs to, you could develop him to throw for 300 yards and 3 touchdowns when he needs to. And the only way that you're going to do that, though, is if you have a good wide receiver for him to throw to add on to the tight ends. And there we go. They're going to select Marquise Brown. Number 23, Houston Texans select Andre Dillard. Once again, another team, horrible offensive line. I can't remember what I don't know if he was the most hit quarterback, the most sacked quarterback, or the most pressured quarterback. He's in one of those 3 categories, though. And either way, if you're in one of those 3, you have an offensive line no matter what one you fall under. And they just need to pick him up, and this is the best offensive lineman available for the Houston Texans to select. Number 24, the Oakland Raiders select DeAndre Baker. I'm not a big fan of the Raiders secondary, and I think they need to improve. They really need to just improve their entire defense this year. And as you see that, then their number 4 pick was to Josh Allen to improve their defensive line. Now you're improving your cornerbacks, and they've got this pick from the Bears, obviously, for Khalil Mack. And they're going to select DeAndre Baker from Georgia to help solidify that secondary up just a little bit better than Conley. And Philadelphia Eagles, Josh Jacobs, the running back. They are losing all their running backs. The year they won the Super Bowl, their running backs played phenomenal that whole entire year. So now they need to get another running back to get them back to that Super Bowl level with Carson Wentz. And they're losing Golden Tate, though, too. And they just need to start rebuilding their wide receivers and running backs a little bit more. And I think they need to start with getting their running back with Josh Jacobs from Alabama. Number 26 overall, I have the Indianapolis Colts selecting Christian Wilkins from Clemson University. And I just think the Colts want to solidify their defense. They have a solid. They're just, this is a defensive draft. I think they're going to pick a defensive player. This is, I think, by far the best one available right now at the time. I think they're going to select Christian Wilkins. I think they're going to stay away from the offense. But they could solidify their defense also, though, with their $100 million in cap space. But I do have the Indianapolis Colts selecting Christian Wilkins here, defensive tackle from Clemson. 27, the Oakland Raiders select Noah Fant. I don't know how to pronounce it. It's Fant or Font. But Jared Cook's walking right now to free agency. They could re-sign him for a deal. That's why it's called free agency. He can re-sign with the Raiders. It's not guaranteed. He could sign with another team if he would like to. And this would just be a nice replacement. And yes, both tight ends you saw on this list were from Iowa. Iowa had a good set of tight ends, T.J. Hockenson and Noah Fant. And I have them selecting this Noah Fant just to give Derek Carr another playmaker right now. I think I heard they're the best team right now to acquire Antonio Brown. That would help out Derek Carr. And you need to grab someone else too, especially with the loss of Jared Cook. I think Noah Fant would be a fine selection here. Number 28 overall, I have the San Diego Chargers selecting Dexter Lawrence. I've been looking, and it says the Chargers want to find someone in the interior to help with Joey Bosa and Melvin Ingram. They have the edge rushers. They want someone to create pressure up the middle to create an amazing defensive line. Probably one like the Bills had a couple years ago with Mario Williams, Kyle Williams, Marcel Darius, and then when Jerry Hughes added that mix, they made 4 amazing defensive linemen. The Chargers, I think, will have that with selecting this with Dexter Lawrence from Clemson. They'll have Dexter Lawrence, Melvin Ingram, and Joey Bosa being the same pass rush that would be almost impossible to stop. Number 29 overall, Kansas City Chiefs select Nasir Adderley. You have Eric Berry back there. but they had one of the worst secondaries last year. I don't care for much of the other corners in this draft. I selected the 3, Byron Murphy, Greedy Williams, and oh man, someone else. Oh damn it. Well, either way, they need a secondary, and I think you're going to end up with Nasir Adderley. And you have Green Bay Packers selecting A.J. Brown from Ole Miss. And they just are going to help. And Aaron Rodgers, they're just going to help Aaron Rodgers in their offense. And if you remember the pick I had for the Packers earlier, because this one comes from a trade with the Saints, I think I'm selecting T.J. Hawkinson. They just need to give Aaron Rodgers more weapons with Davante Adams than just Davante Adams. I think they're really going to do that at the draft and really emphasize that. And I think the Packers could be a very scary team next season if these players do not turn out to be busts. 31 overall, I have the Los Angeles Rams selecting Zach Allen, defensive end from Boston College. To be honest with you, I didn't really even know who to select here for the Los Angeles Rams. I think this is a fine pick. You can make up for whatever one Ndamukong or Dante Fowler if you don't re-sign one of them. But from what I was hearing, from what Sean McVay said, I think they really do want to sign Dante Fowler again. But you could still make up for Ndamukong and that left to free agency. And I think they're going to select a defensive lineman nonetheless. I just have them selecting Zach Allen from Boston College. And I think this one was I got from maybe Peter Schrager's mock draft too. No, I was looking at a whole bunch of mock drafts, so looking at this, and from one of them, they also saw Zach Allen. I thought it was a decent pick, and I have the Los Angeles Rams selecting Zach Allen. And number 32 overall, the Patriots have this pick. But as I said, I said earlier, Arizona Cardinals are selecting Kyler Murray at number 1. That means they would probably trade Josh Rosen. I think, and I'm saying they trade him. They could get him for a second round, but they probably only can get a second round. But right now, I have them getting a first round pick from New England, and New England has their quarterback of the future because that's what New England needs as their quarterback of the future because their backups like 39-year-old or 40-year-old Brian Hoyer is their backup to their 42-year-old Tom Brady. So they need a backup for the future. I think Josh Rosen would be a perfect guy to learn behind Tom Brady, and he's low money right now. That's just Patriots style. He's only averaging $2 million a year for the rest of his rookie deals, which is for 3 more years. He's only averaging $2 million a year, so it's low pay. And they will trade him for the first overall pick, for the first round pick. So the Arizona Cardinals will have this pick, and I have them selecting Garrett Bradbury to help protect Kyler Murray, create more holes for David Johnson. I was looking; they say they most need a guard. I'm pretty sure, and they can move Garrett Bradbury out to guard. A center could play guard. It's the same inside footwork. It's just that they're going to have to more emphasize now to block the defenders out in a way and create a pocket a different way. Centers are right in front of the quarterback. They kind of just have to hold their ground and back up a little bit. That's what centers how to do, how they have to pass block. But now he's going to, in whatever guard he's going to have to step out, though, and push and keep pushing the defensive tackle out to protect Kyler Murray if this scenario plays out. And I have the Arizona Cardinals selecting Garrett Bradbury with a projected trade for the Patriots. And now that is my 2019 first round mock draft. Tell me if you liked it. Tell me what picks you would change. And tell me what videos you want to see that could be anything. You could say football related, or if you want to see something else, comment that down below too. Hope you guys enjoyed the video. See you all next time. Peace out, y'all.